Finding time for yourself. What if? What if wasting time was actually good for your mental health? What if your assumption of productivity was wrong? What if downtime was long forgotten thing of your childhood you just needed to relearn? Imagine yourself enjoying time off, knowing full well you'll be supercharged with energy while working. Recharging your battery. We all know that sleep recharges our body, our mind, and our soul. So in order to be fresh and ready to start our day, we must have good sleep. However, our weekly schedules can be filled with too many activities. It could come from a feeling that we feel we're not accomplishing something unless we're doing something with our time. So therefore, making time for yourself, you can create balance, increase productivity, and not feel guilty about enjoying your downtime. If we use the example of a battery, whenever the battery is running low, there's no more energy to be used to be put towards our cell phones or computers or everyday activities. So by recharging that battery, we can get full efficiency and effective productivity. So number one, balance. Where are you spending your time? So we have 24 hours in a day. If we were to break up all the hours in a day, we sleep approximately 6 to 8 hours, work about 8 if you're working 9 to 5. And then so that leaves about 8 hours of free time. So what are we doing with these 8 hours of free time? Are we spending it with family, friends, house duties, driving, making food? Well, if we look at our schedule from Monday to Friday alone, 8 hours of free time to divide up times 5 comes out to 40 hours a day, 40 hours a week. That could be a full-time job. So 40 hours a week times 4 in a month, that's 160 hours a month. That's almost a week of free time. But not just free time for downtime. These are all the other responsibilities that we should take on day to day. Great. So for balance, this is what the ideal balance would look like in our lives. We have family, personal, health, fitness, career, financial, and let's not forget about adventure, of course. So if our ideal picture would look really balanced, just like this pie. But if we really broke down our daily lives, for example, we'd see that we're spending more time, most of us are spending more time on our financials and our career, trying to make money. But then we also have to look at our health as well, our personal, and our family. And adventure, of course, right? Because adventure excites us. It keeps us alive. And so when we have an imbalance in our pie, we see that we're too busy because we don't have enough time. Not having enough time is a sign of imbalance. Why don't we have enough time? We know how many hours in a week we have. Why aren't we dividing them up? So priorities are shifted. They're shifted from personal to career to financial. And sometimes in our lives, we do have to shift our priorities and focus on one area more than the other. But we have to consider a whole pie as a whole. As for personal output, so for personal, we have output and input. Just like that energy, that battery that we have going, we're always using it. We need to put output to use up that battery. However, we need to also let it recharge. So by focusing on our own personal output, we are focused on external stimulation or relationships. It's our external world, everything that's happening around us. And input. So we have our alone time. This is your own world. This is your internal stimulation as well. So why must we focus, why energy in, why energy out? Well, because the energy in is actually more valuable than the energy out. Because this is where we grow and this is where we renew as individuals. And more importantly, it's our creative and our inspiring aspects. Have you ever taken a walk through the park and just cleared your mind and had all these ideas run through your mind and saying, oh, I should do this, or oh yeah, just your creativeness just expires and just grows from there. And then when you head back to the office and you think, okay, now this is where I'm going to change, modify, or tweak this so that way we can have a better outcome. So our highest level of expertise. So if we were to take a look at the best musicians, athletes, or writers, how do they become so talented? What's their strategies and what is their approach? So extremely talented people in many disciplines share some things in common. So they approximately spend 4 hours a day, usually in the morning, focusing on their skill, because that's when our mental and our physical energy is readily available. And then restricting daily levels of practice allows for adequate rest to restore equilibrium. So by breaking up the period that we're focusing on our skill allows us to recover and mentally memorize and retain this information without taking us into overdrive, because individuals often encounter overtraining injuries and eventually burn out. So as an athlete, if you're training to play baseball and you're swinging that bat or throwing that ball around, the more hours you put towards it, the more your muscles are going to fatigue, your mind's going to be overrun with. And so athletes, after practice, the best is to sleep, so in order to recover and to prevent burnout. So increasing productivity. Less is more. We've all heard that approach. Well, this study of working habits over 4 years through the Boston Consulting Group, they encouraged their employees to take regular time off, whether it was 1 day a week or 1 night a week. They really struggled with this. It's a big paradox in the sense where we are supposed to work more to get more results. More is more, almost. And so after 5 months of struggling to this, their employees actually show that they're more satisfied with their job, more likely to envision a long-term future at the company, more confident with their work-life balance, and overall prouder with their accomplishments. Personally, from working for other people, for employers, I always find that I always want to have a good time and be passionate about what I do, because if I'm not happy going into work, then my productivity will not succeed, and my efforts will not be there. And I know as an athlete, when I'm happy to show up for game day, I know I've put in the practice, and I'm happy about that. And overall, the enjoyment has definitely increased because you're proud of your training, you're proud of working with the people as a team, and overall goal setting. Have you ever worked 50 hours a week hoping to achieve greater results? I know I have. In fact, it leads to higher health and emotional costs. Have you ever felt you just want to go into your room and hide under your desk? Well, that's sometimes the feeling I get when I get overworked and overwhelmed. So if time is no longer available, then what is? There's only a certain amount of hours in a day, in a week, in a month, in a year. Then how can we make the most of our time? Well, the answer is energy. Energy. Enjoyment. Passion. Well, if you love what you do and you put your passion and your heart and soul into it, then you can only go forward. The level of engagement just makes you want to go above and beyond the basic duties, makes you want to excel, usually. Have you ever thought of a time in your life where you really enjoyed what you did and you felt like you could give 110%? Well, there's nothing else than energy that can make up for lost time or for just a standard amount of time. Now, the final part, downtime. turning your attention away from the outside world towards your own mind. Why would we do that? Why would we focus on our inside world? Well, if you look at meditation, which is a huge example, is taking time to sit in a quiet space and close your eyes. What comes to you when you do that? Have you meditated before or only thought about it? Taking that time to just sit in a quiet space and listen to what comes to you in your mind or body or spirit, there's a lot of valuable information that does come from that, and a lot of great ideas have sparked from it. And by just following your instincts and listening to quietness, you can really understand and learn a lot about yourself. Now, taking away from a quiet situation, how about mindfulness? What is mindfulness? Well, focusing one's thoughts, emotions, and sensations in the present moment. What does that mean? Well, it means from the moment you get out of bed to brushing your teeth, preparing your meals for the day, and then heading to work. So all these actions are one after the other, thought. Some of them are, you don't need to think too much about them. You just go ahead and do them. But what about if you took your time, slowed down, and thought about each of those processes? Now, this would help you live in the moment a little bit more by actually taking into account what you are actually doing. So, for example, if you take the subway to work, then looking at your environment, enjoying the time and what's going by you so quickly, as opposed to thinking about what to look forward to. And what this can do is, for example, maybe smiling to a stranger or taking the time to observe the people around you or the environment that is happening, and just to reflect and just to say, okay, whatever comes to your mind. I can't tell you what, but maybe just observing, taking a step back and being an observer. So some studies show that taking 10 to 20 minutes of mindfulness a day is effective. And that could be another great example is being appreciative and grateful. So actually saying thank you to people, or saying hello, or acknowledging strangers or the bus driver and everyone around you. So that's one way. Downtime ideas. What works best for you? What do you like to do on your downtime? There's a huge list of things you can do, but only ones that will actually catch your eye. For example, playing with kids. They have a whole unique perspective to life that can give you great ideas and great feelings of just how to live in the moment, and practice mindfulness as well. Scheduling downtime. That's a guilty pleasure of it. Sometimes we feel like it's a waste of time, but as we said, notice all the benefits of it. Scheduling downtime can actually increase your productivity huge. Being creative, music, art, dance, expressing our emotions and our feelings in other ways that we haven't been throughout the week or throughout our lives. Pursuing your passions or hobbies. It's almost a bit like reliving your childhood. A time when you were practicing art or sports or computers, anything, but you had a lot of time to spend on your hobbies and passions. Outdoor with nature. In fresh air, enjoying the colors of the season, and seeing how nature just changed on its own, and just enjoying how that process takes place without your contribution almost. Saying no. Try not to take on more than you can handle. Saying no. Your no means nothing unless you say yes. Your yes means nothing unless you say no. I'll just repeat that one more time. Your yes means nothing unless you say no. Trying to take on all these tasks and complete them will actually take away from your productivity and your focus. So by saying no to less important things in your life, leaves more time for you to be successful at what is. So be idle for a weekend. Take a staycation. Stay in town. Maybe be a tourist in your own city. I know that I haven't seen everything in Toronto, so there's definitely lots to discover. So enjoy your downtime. Try to embrace it and be there in the moment 100%, and don't try to let other things distract you. Slowing down. How do we slow down in such a fast-paced environment and city and avoid multitasking? Slowing down. Slowing down is about taking a deep breath and thinking about what you're going to do before you do it and feeling good about it. And finally, take a walk. Exercise and movement creates stimulation. It brings ideas to you, helps you think better, increases circulation, happy, exciting endorphins, chemical reactions, and it makes you feel productive as well. So for the conclusion, the challenge of making time for yourself can be overcome by focusing on your inner world through balance, increased productivity, and guilt-free downtime. This is definitely a challenge that can be overcome as long as you make it a habit. 80% of what we do is a habit. If you can incorporate downtime in your everyday life, whether it's 10 to 20 minutes a day, then over a few months, then you're more likely to see greater results from that, and overall increase your enjoyment in your workplace. So thanks for your time, and have a great day.